You've seen me unbox the Voyager. You've also seen me review the Voyager. Now, let's compare the Voyager against its older, bigger brother, Moonlander. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're comparing two split keyboards, the Moonlander against the Voyager, both of them from ZSA. And I've done something similar in the past where I've compared the Moonlander against the ErgoDox, and that video has done pretty well for me, so if you haven't seen it already, do check it out. But in this one we'll try and take a deeper dive between these two, and I'll try and give you all of the things that you may want to look for when you're comparing these two keyboards when making a decision on which one to buy. And I hope the video helps. So let's get started. First up, let's get all the things that are the same on both of these keyboards out the way. Well, they're both split keyboards, so you'll have to type like this. No. First of all, they're both $365 US. So that's right. Both of them cost $365 US. Plus customs depending on where it's being shipped to and some extras that you might have to pay. But that's one of the things. They both cost the same, so you don't have to worry about, hey, one is more expensive than the other. It's purely a product choice for you that you have to make depending on which one fits your need. The second thing is they both have a 2-year warranty. That's right, they both come with a standard 2-year warranty, so if something goes wrong in those 2 years, if something doesn't function as you expect it to, well, ZSA are there and they're going to help you try and A, fix it, or B, send you a replacement, or whatever it is that needs to be done for you to be happy and continue using the keyboards. And that's it. Those are the two things that are the same on both of these keyboards. In my opinion, every other item that I've got on my list is either better on one keyboard or the other. Personal opinion, but yeah, let's get into it. Let's start with the obvious one, the size. Now, if you go to the Moonlander's website right now, you'll see that they call Moonlander a portable keyboard. Okay, when the Moonlander was released, it was a portable device. Right, you could carry it from location to location. You could, and you still can, put it in the carry case that it comes with and take it with you wherever you go. And that was portable for the time. Now we have the Voyager, which is truly portable. Right, it's more than half its size, half Moonlander size in every possible capacity. When you're putting them side by side, or you're putting them in their carry case, you know, the Voyager is truly portable. So, if size really does matter to you, and I know it does to some of you, and you want to go with something that is just much more compact in every possible way, then Voyager is the one, and you can stop watching the video really. That brings us on to the build and the build quality of these two products. The Moonlander on one side is fully plastic. It's a plastic build. The case is fully plastic, and the keys obviously are plastic. They're plastic on both of them, but the build quality of it, in terms of what it's made out of, it's plastic through and through, with the exception of the tilting tent, which is made out of metal. So maybe 98% of the keyboard is made out of plastic, and that's not to say that's bad. You know, it's still durable, it's not very cheap or thin plastic, so it's lasted pretty well. It has some moving parts in it as well, which could be a cause for concern, but nothing has gone wrong to the absolute extreme. And yeah, so that's the build quality and the build, I guess, structure of the Moonlander. Now, if we compare that to the Voyager has a metal backing plate, which instantly makes the keyboard feel heftier, more luxurious, things I've mentioned in the review for the Voyager. I just prefer it a little bit more. On top of that, it's already slimmer, right? So that's the differentiation between the Moonlander and the Voyager. Now, what's really cool, in my opinion, what's really cool is that even though they've added metal, the cost of these keyboards are the same. Generally, adding metal to a product increases the price of a product, but it's great that they've decided to, well, they've somehow managed to keep the cost the same, even though the metal backing of Voyager means that the product is just that bit more heftier, that bit more structurally more sound, right? It's less likely to break. Metal, plastic. I think that one goes to the Voyager. Number 3 in my list of things which is quite important to me is the ability to hot swap the switches out to something else, something more clickier, something less clickier, something more heavier to press. And they both have that ability. So you might be thinking, why isn't that in the list where they both have the same features? Well, yes, they both are hot swappable, but the choices you have on the Moonlander, a lot more choice. Because they're full-size switches, you can switch them out to pretty much anything you wish for. There is just a bigger, more wider variety of choice for you to move on to if you're not enjoying the switches that the keyboard came with. If we look at the Voyager, on the other hand, it's a half-size switches. So there aren't many options out there in the market. There are some third-party options outside of Kill that you can go and get. So yes, there is more choice, but the choice is nowhere near as vast as what you'd find on the full-size switches. So yes, they're both hot swappable, but if you're looking to switch into something completely different, maybe you already have some keyboards lying around and you like the feel of them, the chances of you finding those switches for this keyboard, or at least the Moonlander, is much easier than finding it for the Voyager. Now, over time, that might change, but that's where we are at this point in time. Number 4 is the adjustability of these keyboards so that they suit your wrist angles more. How much adjustability is there? Well, the Moonlander is, I would say, fully 100% customizable to your angle. All right, it's got that peg here, which you can just change to whatever angle you wish to. So if you want it flat, well, you can have it flat. But if you'd like it to change it to a 90-degree angle, 108, 90 degrees, 75 degrees, whatever you wish, you can do that, screw that in, and then you're done. The thumb cluster is also customizable to a completely different angle as well. So yeah, customization on the Moonlander, at least for how you wish to place it and type on it, is fantastic. Now, if we compare that to the Voyager, well, the Voyager comes with this really cool magnetic pegging system, which means you can literally attach pegs here, and then this keyboard will sit like that, and that's it. So technically, you only have 2 options here, either flat or the given angle that the pegs are once you attach them to the back of the metal plate here. And that's it. You can't change the thumb cluster to be a different angle. You can't join the pegs together to increase the angle. Maybe that's something they might do and give you the ability to customize later on. But at this point in time, only 2 angles versus infinite angles. That brings me on to another thing that the Moonlander has going for it, which is the wrist rest. The detachable integrated wrist rest is fantastic. It means you don't really need to go out and buy another accessory to try and make you feel more comfortable on the keyboard. The Voyager, on the other hand, doesn't come with one, and you'll have seen that in my review. So what I use is I use these rest pads for my palm that I've bought that technically were there for, it's used for mouse, but I'm using it because of its size, its miniature size. I'm using it as an addition to the Voyager, and it's working out well. So yeah, it doesn't come with an integrated one or even an accessory from ZSA. So yeah, that's another win for me for the Moonlander. The final comparison here for the product is the number of keys that they have. Well, the Moonlander has 72 keys and the Voyager has 52 keys. What does that mean? Well, your average standard keyboard has 78 keys or 79 keys. That's what you'll get on your MacBook or your Windows laptop. So out the book, both of these keyboards have less keys than what you get on your standard laptop. But there's, of course, the thumb cluster as well. So the Moonlander has 32 keys plus the 4 keys on the thumb cluster on each side. And the Voyager has 24 keys plus the 2 on the thumb cluster. So you're getting 2 less keys on the thumb cluster on one versus the other. And of course, you're also not getting 8 keys on the Voyager. So you're missing out on 8 keys on top of the 2 on the thumb cluster as well. So that's how they've also minimized the size of this keyboard. It's a much more compact keyboard. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. A lot of people who are and were using Moonlander were actually not using the outside keys, and Moonlander themselves came out with an accessory kit which would blank out those outside keys, which technically made the keyboard the same as the Voyager. So this is quite a key important distinction, and one that you really need to think about before you decide which one you want to go with, is do you think you're going to utilize every single key on the keyboard? Remember, both of these come with custom software, which means you can have multiple layers, each layer doing different things, and you don't really need to stretch any of your fingers in any particular direction. So do you think you're going to use every single key that the Moonlander gives you? And answering that will be key in deciding which one you go with. There you have it. That was a little comparison between the product side of things, right? The difference in the size and the build quality and the number of keys and how hot swappable each of those switches are on both of the keyboards. And here is where they've ended up. Not bad. Not bad. But what do I make of it? Like, what is my personal opinion about these two keyboards? If I was to pick one, biased opinion because it's mine, which one would I pick? So I really like the portability and the slim profile of the new Voyager. Like, I really love it. I can't tell you how good it is to have something in my backpack that I carry to work, and it doesn't, it can fit in my bag without having to take up the entire bag space. On top of that, the build quality is, I just really love it. The metal backing plate makes a huge difference to me in terms of how the product feels and the quality of the product. They're all things I really love about the Voyager. A couple of things I don't like, and the Moonlander does better, is the fact that it doesn't have an integrated wrist rest. And I can't adjust the angle of the keyboard to my liking. I just would prefer to have that customization there. And I'm sure ZSA are already thinking about it. But out the box, paying the amount of money that I've paid, maybe a couple of extra magnetic pegs, and they just, sit on top of another and they just join, and I'd have a slightly heavier angle. That would have been really nice, in my opinion. The typing experience on both of these keyboards is fantastic, right? I don't care that one has 72 keys versus 52 keys. What I will say is that the thumb cluster on the Voyager feels better. Even though it's not customizable in terms of its angle, I think 2 keys placed in a better position are better than 4 keys placed in a weird position, especially the red one. Never got on with it. I just don't get on with it, still to this day. So, yes, in terms of the typing experience, they're both fantastic, right? You can adjust them to your liking. Sure, you need to buy some rest pads for the Voyager that you get by default on the Moonlander. But once you put all those things to the side, the typing experience on both of these keyboards is fantastic. You can type the way you want to, ergonomically. Great. And so that leads us to the final question. Which one would I recommend to you? Well, I tell you to get the Voyager, right? It's a better product. The build quality of this product is fantastic. It really is. I mean, if you have two of them side by side, if you know two people who have one or the other, I wish you could really feel the difference in quality between these two products. It's a really fantastically built product. And on top of that, it's portable. And portability is key for me because I travel to work. I don't have one location where I'm using this keyboard. So yes, that's the other thing. One of the other reasons why I'd recommend the Voyager over the Moonlander is that I think the Voyager is better for people with smaller hands. Right, you get more adjustability on the Moonlander if you have smaller hands, right? They give you a lot more adjustability of what angle you want your thumb cluster to be. But because the size of the Voyager is so much slimmer and smaller, I think people with smaller hands will be able to use this keyboard in a much easier fashion than the Moonlander. So if you're someone who has smaller hands, then Voyager, again, for you. So yes, that's where we are at the end of this video. A little comparison between the Moonlander and the Voyager, and why the Voyager is winning for me at this point in time, and, well, any point in time, really. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.